Instagram, YouTube. This is Dr. Jameson here again with another tops list for you. This is a good one today because this will really let you know if you should or should not go to medical school to become a doctor. Stay tuned after the intro. All right, we're back again. This is to let you know whether you should or should not continue on your journey towards becoming a doctor, or if you are already a physician, you may need to look to go into some other alternative career in which you can still use your degree, but just don't see patients. So let me get right into it. Number one, do not become a physician. Do not become a doctor, and do not go to medical school if you are more interested in politics and policy than you are in patience. So patience as in patience people. If you don't love people and if you don't care about people more than you care about the politics surrounding them or the policy surrounding them, do not enter medical school. Medical school and politics do not go hand in hand. The policies and procedures do not go hand in hand with a medical doctor. A lot of times we make decisions based on heart first and people first, and then we deal with policy. Politics, a lot of times, is made by people with no medical experience, and that ends up hurting patients and hurting doctors' ability to treat them. So make sure, if you do not love people more than politics and watching the news, watching the CNNs or the Foxes or MSNBCs or the One America, don't you become a doctor. Do not get into this field because you will be miserable, because it is primarily dealing with people, caring with people, loving on people, trying to make people better at the expense sometimes of policy and politics. Number two, reason to not become a doctor. Do not go to medical school if you have an issue with your temper and patience. If you are being told constantly that you need to work on your temper, if you've been told, hey, you have a short fuse, or if you've had a history of being uncontrollable, unable to deal with frustration or deal with people who may be coming towards you in aggressive ways or aggressive confrontations. If you have a problem with minding your behaviors during these aggressive confrontations, or if you cannot act as a mediator in a lot of situations, do not become a medical doctor. Do not go to medical school. You're going to be dealing with people for the rest of your career. There's no way to hide. And a lot of times the personality of other doctors, other physicians, your instructors, your chief or co-residents, people above you, and even once you start, you're gonna have bosses, you're gonna have coworkers or nurses who've been there 20 years, or patients who have their own opinions. And sometimes those may come off as confrontational. And if you are a confrontational person, that may suit you better for a legal profession, a law field, maybe even in education, but definitely not as a medical doctor, because that would be one of the worst things for someone who's supposed to put their heart and their understanding and medical knowledge towards someone, and you're busy in a confrontational environment. Second of all, you don't want to have confrontations constantly with the nursing staff or other physicians or your patients. That would make you miserable and make them miserable, and thus it would hurt healthcare if you became a doctor. So if you've been told you have a problem with your temper, if you've been told that you cannot control your temper, or you know that you don't have patience, you can't wait, you have to have it now, and you cannot wait. If you can't deal with waiting 2, 5, 10 years for something, do not become a medical physician. If you have problems waiting, don't become a doctor. Number three, if you feel that you are a complete person right now, if you feel that you know as much as you'll ever know, if you think that you've grown as much as you'll ever grow, if you pretty much feel that you are pretty much kind of perfect, that if you feel you have all the answers, if you have everything with your character, everything with your knowledge, if you feel you've hit your peak right now and there's no further growth needed, don't become a doctor. Because the whole process of getting into medical school, dealing with failure, dealing with near failure, dealing with losing people or failing exams or failing tests or not getting questions right, then making errors in medicine, making mistakes with patients, or being able to learn to correct those mistakes during your training period, and then learning from colleagues, learning from others. This is going to deal with someone who's constantly in a state of growth. It's called the practice of medicine. Therefore, we are learning year after year after year to become better and better and better. We're constantly changing. We're constantly growing. We're becoming more determined. We're becoming sharper. We're becoming smarter. We're becoming more caring and more compassionate. We're becoming more of a heart person than just someone who's really focused on studying. We care about people, and we grow more and more and more compassionate every day, every year, as we learn more and more about how to treat our patients. And if you're someone who has all the answers, who's not willing to grow, who's not willing to accept any sort of opinions from other people, or if you cannot take criticism from other people and grow from that criticism, not just take it and nod your head and move on and have a bad attitude. But if you know you've been told, or if that's a weakness of yours, there are plenty other fields. But I am trying to save you from over $300,000 in debt and a life of misery. Do not go into medicine if you feel that you are pretty much a solid person and you really don't have much more growth to go from a character standpoint. But if you know you're constantly improving your character, if you know that you're getting stronger in your faith in people, stronger in your knowledge base, constantly willing to study, constantly willing to change, constantly willing to grow along with others, that's a medical doctor, and that's constantly what you'll be doing your whole career. So if you like staying the same, if you like steady, plateau, never changing, keep things the same because my character's fine, my everything's fine about me, my knowledge base is fine, I really kind of know this stuff, I really just want to coast, you wouldn't be happy in the medical field. Don't go into it. All right, number 4, if you prefer to be alone, if you are a loner, if you're someone who really has social anxiety, if you don't like groups, if you don't like public speaking, if you don't like being around other people, if you kind of are agitated easily by other people, if other people coming into your space and talking to you who you don't know kind of frightens you, or if you have a problem with these things, it is probably better for you not to become a doctor. There are other fields for you if you cannot deal with this, but becoming a doctor is going to expose that and make you constantly uncomfortable, unhappy, and you probably aren't going to last long in the field. So what I'd say to you is, in medical school, as you get into medical school, you're going to have to give reports and projects. You're going to have to speak in front of a class constantly. You're going to have to give PowerPoint presentations. You're going to be invited to give talks and expected to give that. Secondly, you're going to have a new person and probably 4 or 5 of their family members enter a room and ask you questions. And you're going to have to speak in a way such that they, one, trust you, they understand your knowledge base and understand what treatments you may have for them. So you can't be shy, you can't be afraid, you can't have social anxiety and practice medicine in this way without getting some help. I'm all for you seeking help through therapy to improve character and other deficiencies that you may have. However, if those have not been improved, do not enter the medical field. Do not enroll or apply to medical school to be disappointed. Don't go into your classes and be unable to speak. Don't get through somehow your basic science years, pass a couple exams, and then fill out your 3rd and 4th year during rotations when you can't deal with surgeons screaming and yelling in the OR. You must clear up these social anxieties. You must clear up these problems you'd have with needing to be alone and needing your personal space. There's no personal space. There's no personal space in medicine. Some people may say, hey, if you go into pathology or radiology, you don't have to deal with other people. You're just locked in a dungeon. And I thought that during my training until I saw how much I constantly called a radiologist and pathologist for results. They're getting called constantly. A radiologist especially knows how to speak to tons of other doctors because we rely on them. Pathologists, they know how to speak to every type of surgeon because the surgeries don't go on until we have the report from them. So if someone's looking for positive cancer margins or negative cancer margins when they're doing a surgery of some sort, they're calling down to the lab while the patient's on the table. Anesthesiologist is back there keeping the person asleep and comfortable and stable while we're waiting, sometimes for hours on end, just for the pathologist to give another report. So please believe everyone involved in medicine is a team sport at all levels. There's no one who just sits in a box all day and then checks out like Fred Flintstone at the end of an 8-hour day. No, we all work together. So that's something you're going to kind of have to get over, or just don't go into medical school if you feel you must be alone and you'd rather just work alone, because there's really not a field in which you can just work alone the whole day. You're going to be working with a team of people. You're going to have to know how to work in a team environment and function within a team. Number 5, you already know. If you prefer prestige, if you prefer money, and you need the money and prestige now, and you see it on TV, of course you see it on your music videos already, you see it in sports entertainment, of course you may see it in all of your different sitcoms you watch, all the different physicians of Hollywood or Orange County and all these different shows. That doesn't fit what you're going to deal with in being a medical student, a medical resident, or a physician at any point, really. To tell you the truth, we make near minimum wage for a large amount of our career up until we're able to get out and start our residency and fellowship training. After residency, you start to maybe make a little positive or above minimum wage during a fellowship. And most people don't opt to do fellowships. Those are extra years on top of a residency. After fellowship, you can go and get a job, you can do research, you can go give lectures and things like that. And in that way, you may be able to make a larger income. However, it will be disproportionate to a lot of your peers that have been already making a steady salary since their early 20s once they graduated from college. So, and think about it, law school is 3 years. Most graduate schools are 3 years. A lot of PhD programs and things are 4 or 5 years. But then you look at medical school, that's 4 years of medical school, at least 3 years of residency training, but a lot of us end up doing 4, 5, and 6 years. That's 10 years. If you do a spine fellowship or something more, that's another 1 or 2 years of research plus the fellowship. So if you look at it, you could easily go about 12 to 13 years with making close to minimum wage or a little bit more than that. And can you handle that? You won't be received and people won't clap for you and scream for you if that's what you're looking for. That's an entertainer, that's an athlete, but that is not a physician. So if you're looking for prestige, if you're looking to walk into a room and be signing autographs, if you're looking to be Insta famous or YouTube famous, or if you're looking for the bright lights, the big fancy cars, the big fancy house, those sorts of things, you do not get into medical training for that. You're going to be sorely unhappy. I'd say do not go to medical school for that reason. There are other schools you can go into. You can DM me, comment below, and I can give you advice on other fields you can go into if you're looking for more immediate gratification, where you can just spend a couple of years and then get out and go into another field. And there are several where you can get out and just go to work. But if you want to be a doctor, be ready to put people first. Be ready to put knowledge first. Be ready to attend endless conferences for the rest of your career and read the rest of your career, because medicine changes, people change, and conditions change. And who'd know that we'd be right now studying how to fight a virus called coronavirus in 2000, when in medical school this was no part of the training other than to say it was just, hey, it's just a common cold. But now it's wiping people out and killing people, and we're walking around in the streets with masks. As of now, today is June 2020, just to document. And that's how medicine grows. And if you love that part of it, if you love the people, if you love the conditions, if you love the medicine, if you love learning, if you want to be a part of this great field, those are the things that should interest you first and foremost. If you constantly seek knowledge, and if you love the science, if you love just seeing people grow and get better and become their best selves, if you are most interested in growing in your own character, making mistakes and growing from them, entering into relationship with others of your colleagues and learning from them, taking and giving good criticism to others and watching them grow from that, this field is for you. but those 5 things I told you are just to kind of steer you away from a life of unhappiness. I don't want anyone to be unhappy, especially going to debt to become more unhappy. So there you go, guys. Always remember, subscribe. Help me grow this great community. I'm trying to grow a community of people that can help others in the comment sections and beyond. So help me so I can help you. Let me help you so you can help others. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of others. And as always, stay safe out there, guys.